All right, let's get into our next discussion. The People's Democratic Party is accusing the Independent National Electoral Commission of plotting to secretly create 30,000 illegal polling units in areas that will favor the ruling All Progressives Congress.
Now, that allegation comes after an emergency National Executive Committee meeting of the party. A TVC News senior correspondent Somna Sambo reports.
The PDP says it is worried by an investigation it undertook, which shows an alleged grand design by INEC to create and sneak in 30,000 illegal polling units in some remote areas ahead of the 2019 general election in favor of President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC. The opposition party also describes the current tension within the political space, especially the invasion of the Senate chamber during the week, as a major sign that all is not well with the current operators of Nigeria's democracy.
The situation in our country is very disturbing as the ruling APC has continued to show in all ramifications that it lacks the wherewithal to manage our country.
The PDP later cautioned INEC not to set the nation on fire by its alleged decision to clandestinely create more polling units, as it will cause chaos and further divide Nigerians. Somna Sambo, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, we have in the studio a political analyst, Sam Olisa. Good morning and thanks for joining us on the show.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Good morning.
Nice
Well, it looks like deja vu. I mean, recall when Atahiru Jega, former INEC chairman, tried to, there was talk about this 30,000, same number, 30,000 polling units,
4 years ago.
Yes, trickishly, for want of a better word, in order to favor a certain, a segment of the country. And here we are again. This talk has come up again. Well, INEC has been trying to explain this away, saying this is based on requests from over 3,700 areas that have not been served.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I think I congratulate the PDP for settling down to do the real function of political opposition, because we need it for our own democracy to deepen. Having said that, I think these are some of the things we expect when election is approaching. By the fact that the opposition cried out that about 30,000 polling units additional were to be created to favor a certain party in a certain area, I think that will put INEC on its toes. And I think that is also responsible for the explanation of INEC that presently only 3,789 requests that have received requests to that effect for some reasons, such as increase in population, boundary adjustment and crisis, all those things, a movement of settlements.
Yes.
Perhaps the Fulani herdsmen, moving around.
And even IDPs.
IDPs. So there's no doubt there will be need to relocate some polling booths. There will be need as population grows. But INEC should be very, very transparent about it if they don't want crisis at hand. Because oppositions are already sounding a note of warning on this issue. I think when the thing happened during the time of Atahiru Jega, the man was very wise. He was open about it. And he did everything possible. He conducted the election in the most fair and free and fair manner that everybody saw. And I think the present INEC chairman should take a cue from that, because Nigeria will not take anything less than that. The standard has been established.
Talking about creating or secretly creating polling units, is there a way, when these things are created, is there a way it favors, how would it favor one political party over the other?
You see, there's always what is called facts behind figures. Definitely, election is an issue of figures. It's not an issue of some people are taller or shorter than the other. It's figures. So when you begin to create polling units that will increase the figures of certain area, or an area you feel a political party have dominance, already you are going through the back door to rig the election.
Yeah, but in this case, it is the same number of those who have PVCs that are going to be in the new polling units so created or not. So how does it change the figures?
You see, there is no state in Nigeria today that do not have or collected PVCs. And as it marvels us, because we have observed it, some states, the registered voters are over 2.5 million, but collected PVC are under 500,000. So chances are, by the time you create these polling units and you juggle up figures, those PVCs will be suddenly collected.
Oh. And with that too, in addition to that, you have the preponderance of uncollected PVCs is actually in the south. Lagos, Ogun, and the rest of them are states that have not, that have left way too many PVCs uncollected. And the INEC is saying if these PVCs are not collected, we're going to destroy them, just burn them up.
That is what they said.
Yes.
But they have not done it. And again, INEC said there are 3,789 requests.
Yes.
Requests.
Where
Maybe
did this request
by the time
come
they get
from?
the request and they assess it, if they want to be funny, one request can bring about 10 additional polling booths. The other way around, 10 requests may not warrant an additional polling booth. So the decision is subjective. You understand what I'm saying? When we have subjectivity, then there are rooms for maneuvering. So that is why I said INEC should be very careful. It's a sensitive issue. If they're going to do anything about it, they should be open to every party. All hands must be on deck. All stakeholders must be carried along to avoid volatility from this level.
All right. So some of those who are expressing some level of concern over this are saying that, moreover, INEC has said in the next elections they won't be using electronic voting. So it gives room for more manipulation if there has to be.
Definitely. So that is why people are apprehensive.
But in this case, are we going backwards or we're going forward? Because we remember the introduction of card readers. We know how the challenges, but then we know how it made the system a little transparent. So how can Nigeria be going backwards? Of course, you recall
that the failure of the card readers, according to some observers and those who were on ground, says it actually gave room to massive rigging, according to them. So what kind of loopholes do we need to block, and how can INEC give confidence both to the south, to the north, to every part of the country that, look, this election 2019 is going to be free, fair, and what's the third word? And credible.
You see, in every country, when you use a system, you develop over it. You don't go backward. We have known the reasons for the failure of some card readers. Then what you do is to position additional or extra card readers so that we continue to use that system. But unfortunately in Nigeria, we always make one noise. People are making noise about creating institutions. Who are those that are going to run the institutions? Is it are we not Nigerians?
Yeah. So
our societal value is very key in everything. It's unfortunate that we are going backward, because that will not deepen our democracy. That will always give room for crisis. It is very unfortunate. One would have thought that the shortcomings of the last election observed on the card readers would develop upon it. Technology is taking over the world. Technology, why are we going back? It's very unfortunate. That's why people are now apprehensive. That now that you don't want to use electronic voting, you don't want to use card reader, you are receiving requests which you are going to assess based on your subjective opinion. That is why INEC should be very, very careful. And again, if you look at the issues of polling booths, I look at it a priori as similar to creation of local government and states. By the time you begin to create more polling booths, in other words, you are creating local government
and more constituencies
through the back door. So INEC should be very careful.
What do you make of this voting point settlement, which seems to be the other name for polling units? That's what INEC is saying that it's going to put in place. What do we make of that?
When we say voting point settlement, you show us maybe there is some area that are crisis. The voters that voted there 4 years ago cannot go there. Now you move the same polling booth the same registered voters to a new point. Not that we are creating additional.
Okay.
That is understandable.
Okay. It's like
resettling
resettling
for security
them
reasons.
for security reasons.
You move, and don't forget, Nigeria has come a long way. We don't want to lose. We don't want to win an election through the court.
Yeah.
Because if any foul play is observed, the opposition or whosoever lost, we go to court. And once you are able to prove your point,
You win.
you win.
But do you think with the prevailing situation right now in the Northeast that INEC can actually carry out a successful election in that part of the country? Don't forget, in 2015, there were fears that elections may not hold in the Northeast.
But he held.
It held, no situations, arose and all of that. Is it possible to have a replication of that in 2019?
In your last segment, you discussed the military, what do we call it?
Last hold, Operation Last
Operation
Hold.
Last
Operation Last Hold.
Yes.
If that was successful, I don't think there's anything to debar holding election in the Northeast, because it is very key and it's important. If we say we are voting, we are running a democracy in Nigeria, it should be totality of Nigeria.
All right. Some analysts had said at the end of the Big Brother Naija program, the reality TV show that was held, of about 170 million people voted via SMS, via whatever they voted, and the system was so transparent. And they were saying that it is possible to replicate that in elections,
In the Nigerian
where
electoral
we don't
process.
even have to go and queue up. Everyone has a phone number, and you have the data of everyone who has a phone number. So send in your vote, and he ends it.
Mike,
How possible is that?
Mike, there's nothing that is not possible when the society wants it. Particularly when we have good leadership that can drive it. You see, Nigerian politicians are very selfish. If you have 10 presidential candidates, all the 10 have assumed the position of win-win before we start the election. So, depending on the power, on how they can muzzle out, how they can wrestle out, they bastardize the system. If that can be done in Big Brother Nigeria, that program, then, and looking at all our biometric registration in Nigeria, all telephone operators, they have biometric. Then looking at the BBN, for the banking
the
industry,
BVN.
that has collapsed multiple accounts. That is possible. For how long? Nigerian African giant. For how long do we need to cripple the economy because we are voting? We shut down the economy.
And it looks like we're going
It
for
is possible,
war.
and I think we are there. If we want to do it, if we have the will, the leadership, if the leadership have the will, we can do it now. But unfortunately, it will not be done.
Mahmoud Yakubu is saying that the use of technology may just be the reason why the election will be so easily rigged. I mean, recalling the incidents of the Cambridge Analytica situation. So that's the reason he's giving for not wanting to even begin to think about using technology fully to drive the voting process.
They cannot use that to assess Nigerian situation.
Well, that's
because
what he's
in that
using.
issue, in that area, it was Russia that hacked American or other Western countries' voting system to manipulate it.
Don't forget Nigeria.
But
Nigeria came up.
The name of Nigeria came up.
The 2015 election.
And Cambridge Analytica was named as well.
But then, for every problem, there will be a solution. Unfortunately, we don't need to go back. We need to move with the world. This is 21st century. But if that is his choice, he should be careful. And it should be seen to be transparent. It's not only transparent, it should be seen to be transparent like his predecessor.
Are you concerned that this 30,000 additional numbers coming less than 10 months to the 2019 election?
Such a thing will always happen in Nigeria. It came up 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's coming up again. But it's good that the whistle has been blown so that all eyes will concentrate on that issue. And if anything funny is done, like I said earlier, people will go to court.
But Nigerians always expect that if there's going to be anything that is, for instance, amendment of electoral law, any of those things should be done way long before the election year comes
So
up.
you can cross
So
all
you
the
know
T's
that
and dot
it's
the
not,
I's.
It's not for any reason, it's not for any
Yeah.
selfish reason, it's not for any hidden reason, and give confidence to all those who are involved.
I think you are right. And I think during the time of President Yar'Adua, immediately he took office. Right at the point he was being sworn in, he condemned the electoral law
Exactly.
or the electoral process
That brought him to power.
I started working on it immediately. I think we are right on that. But here we are. We now find ourselves. I hope we get out of it.
What are the options before INEC? Of course, Atahiru Jega, former INEC chairman, did come up with a lot of reforms. Looking at what Mahmoud Yakubu has been able to achieve so far, would you say that he's been able to put in place reforms that will engender confidence in the Nigerian voter?
I think Mahmoud Yakubu is here to face a major test. The elections will be holding in either state, one state, staggered election. The main test is the 2019 election. And I wish the man success. It is to his best interest to put in place appropriate reforms and to ensure that he has men of good quality and integrity to work with him, and that his own integrity is not also undermined.
What kind of reforms would you like to see from where you are standing to actually ensure that 2019 is even far, far better than 2015?
Yeah, we've tried a system before. During the 1983 election, option A4. Where results right there at the polling booth.
1993.
1993.
Yeah.
And I think we should go back there. So that is a system.
But you think the option A4 will still be relevant in the world of today?
We are no more using technology now. If we are using technology now, we can say, okay, let's do away with option A4. But now that we are going back, I think we should look at that.
Okay.
That's
What
my
about
opinion.
what about the appointment of election officials themselves? Who should be appointing them, to at least prevent
Unnecessary interference.
exactly interference
Thank
from
you. The name of the agency is what?
Independent.
National Electoral Commission.
How independent is
How independent
is it?
is the appointment? That's the question we should ask. If it is really independent, I think the organization itself could suggest names, bring out people, just like when you want to go to marriage registry. You have to publish it in paper at least 2 weeks before, so that if there's anybody that has objection, they will file in their petition. I think so. The same system should be used for key INEC officials. Publish their names. So if people have anything against them, they will object. There will be objection. After that system, after that level, then you take the name to National Assembly for approval. So by so doing, there will be a little bit of checks and balances.
And openness.
And openness.
All right, we have to leave it here now. Samuel Issa, thank you very much for talking to us on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a very short breather. Yes, enough time to do that, and we'll bring you the news update. Ike Chukwuobienu is standing by. Stay with us.